Hi, I'm Karen, and this is my playoff picks for this divisional playoffs. Now, we got some very good matchups this week, and I'm very excited for these games. So let's just get right into the games and my picks. So the first matchup that we're going to talk about is the Houston Texans and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Houston Texans, they won last week, 31-10 over the Bengals. Now, TJ Yates had 159 passing yards. They had 5 penalties for 87 yards, no fumbles, sacked 2 times for 7 yards lost, and they made 3 interceptions for 28 yards. Now, they played really good. It was a home game for them. They just had a really good game. They were, right on. Yates had just he was, good for a rookie there. I thought that they played very well, but they are playing the Ravens. And in week 17, they won 24-16 over the Bengals. And Flacco had 130 passing yards. They had 7 penalties for 59 yards, no fumbles, sacked 1 time for 4 yards lost, which is kind of interesting because they both play the same team. The Texans did have, more passing yards. They did score more points. It was only 31-24, so it was like 1 score more. But, with the Ravens and the Texans, I think it is going to be a tight game. But I think it's going to go down with the Ravens have more experience. This is the Texans' first time in the playoffs. I think the Ravens going to have more experience. They're playing at home, and I think the Ravens are going to win this game. Now, the next game we're going to talk about, which this one I'm very excited about too, the New Orleans Saints and the San Francisco 49ers. Now, New Orleans Saints, they won 45-28 over the Lions. That was a very exciting game. Drew Brees had 466 passing yards. They had 3 penalties for 18 yards, 2 fumbles, sacked 2 times for 7 yards lost. They made 2 interceptions for 17 yards. There was no stopping the Saints. They were down a little bit early in the game. But, knowing the Saints, they play strong, they play hard, and there was no stopping Drew Brees. Now, San Francisco 49ers, in week 17, they won 34-27 over the Rams. Smith had 219 passing yards. Akers had 14 passing yards. They had 5 penalties for 80 yards, sacked 3 times for 22 yards lost, and they made 2 interceptions for 16 yards. Now, the 49ers are a strong team. Jim Harbaugh really developed a very strong working team here. Good offense, good defense. I just think it's going to be a great matchup. But I just think, the Saints, they got it going on. They got it going on this year, and there's just no stopping them. And I think they're going to be able to take the 49ers. So I'm picking the Saints. Now, the Denver Broncos and the New England Patriots. And this is going to be an interesting game. Now, the Denver Broncos, they won 29-23 over the Steelers in overtime. Tim Tebow threw that touchdown pass in overtime, the first play of overtime to win that game. Big surprise to everybody. Tim Tebow threw 316 passing yards, 5 penalties for 30 yards. They fumbled 2 times, where they lost 1 of them. No sacks. They made 1 interception for 9 yards lost. And that was a surprise game. I mean, Tebow had a great passing game. They had a good run game. It was a surprise. But as I said, God's on his side there. But now the New England Patriots, they beat the Broncos before earlier in the season. But, this is the playoffs. Everyone's always playing a little bit different. The Patriots in week 17 won 49-21 over the Bills. Brady had 338 passing yards, 1 interception. Hoyer had 22 passing yards. They had 4 penalties for 77 yards, sacked 4 times for 18 yards lost. They made 4 interceptions for 77 yards, and they were down 21-0 after the first quarter. But, of course, Brady and his guys came back, and they took the lead and won that game. And, you know, Brady has the experience. They're an all-together team. They're a strong team, and they've already beaten the Broncos. And actually, they have Coach McDaniels now as their offensive coordinator, and he's very familiar with the Broncos and with Tim Tebow because he drafted Tim Tebow. So I think it gives them a little bit of an unfair edge, but anything can happen when it comes to Tim Tebow. Miracles do seem to happen when you're talking about Tim Tebow, but I'm still going to go with the Patriots on that one. And the game of all games that I can't wait for, the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers. This is going to be some close game. Now, the New York Giants won 24-2 over the Falcons. Yay! Eli Manning had 277 passing yards and 0 interceptions. They had 7 penalties for 73 yards, no fumbles, sacked 1 time for 7 yards lost. They played a phenomenal game. Their passing game was on. Their running game was on. Their defense was on. They were just a complete package. And that is how they need to play this week. If they have all them pieces together, if they play like they played last week, they're going to give Green Bay Packers a run for their money because they almost beat the Packers before. They just gave Aaron Rodgers a little too much time to come back and get that field goal. Otherwise, they would beat the Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers in Week 17 won 45-41 over the Lions. But technically, from what I see, the Lions had a touchdown that was called an incomplete pass. But in the replay, it was pointed out that it actually was a touchdown, but it wasn't a, they couldn't challenge it. But it, you know, I saw, you know, that night watching SportsCenter that it was a touchdown. So technically, the Packers should have lost that game. But now Flynn had 480 passing yards and 1 interception, 6 penalties for 78 yards, 1 fumble, sacked 3 times for 11 yards lost, made 2 interceptions for 6 yards, and Flynn threw a franchise record of 6 touchdowns. So even if Rodgers was out, Flynn is there, and he's a good quarterback too. So, you know, they got it. You know, both of their quarterbacks are good quarterbacks. So, you know, these two teams, I think, are very equally matched. They both have great quarterbacks. They have a great team. It's going to be a very evenly matched game. And it's just going to come down to who's playing better on Sunday. And, you know, if the Giants show up the way they played last week, the Packers better be on their A game, because this is going to be a very close game. And you know what? I'm going out and saying I think the Giants want it more. I think they want it more. I think they got the desire. They are healthy. They have all their guys there. Their guys are healthy. They're back. They're there. And you know what? I think they're going to win that game. These guys, I think they're going to do it. And I'm picking the Giants to win. So, for a recap of who I think is going to win, it's going to be the Ravens over the Texans, the Saints over the 49ers, the Patriots over the Broncos, and the New York Giants over the Packers. So, enjoy your divisional playoff games this week, and I will see you next week.